Good evening. It's Kathy again on Monday evening. I'm a little early again tonight. We're out and about, so I decided I should go ahead and do this. So I wanted to talk about time management again for the summer. So I'll get into that tonight. I wanted to kind of just let you know that I'm going to continue to do this series for a few more weeks. And hopefully you can give me some other ideas of things that you want to hear about or have more input on or that kind of thing. So just below this video, you can give me some ideas of things that you're struggling with the summer and your schedule and what you would like ideas to kind of take care of or help you. So tonight I'm going to just talk a little bit about kind of the schedules that we have and the things that we do in the summer that are maybe a little different than other times of year. If you have kids, they're probably out of school for the summer, so you've had to come up with ways to take care of them. You know, if they're in daycare or if they're old enough that they could stay at home, but you still want them to be busy doing things and not just sitting in front of their screens all day. So having ideas of things that they could do. So I was reading a book just a little bit ago that was talking about how moms are responsible for so many things of the household. So you have this constant kind of mental capacity, mental things that you think about that you take care of. So taking care of making sure the dishes get done and the kids get fed and you know, if you have dogs or cats or other animals that you take care of, you make sure they all get fed and somebody's responsible for that. And you're responsible for the grocery list and what you're going to cook for your meals and all of that. And just being responsible for so many things. And even, you know, your kids maybe need to get sick, so they need to go to the doctor or they need dentist appointments, or you're coming up on the school year. Do they need, you know, immunizations that need to be done before school's done or goes back in session. So it's all of those little things that moms are taking care of that maybe your spouse helps with some of that, but you still kind of are irresponsible for thinking about those things and noticing when something needs to be fixed. So maybe figuring out some sort of schedule that can be something ongoing that you and your spouse sit down and talk about who's responsible for what. Or maybe your kids, you have kids that are old enough that they could be responsible for things. So you kind of get a schedule that everybody's on board with, and maybe look at August and figure out what everybody's going to be doing, you know, until they go back to school. You know, what, maybe have them go through their clothes and try stuff on and figure out what clothes they need new for the next year, and have them be responsible for kind of doing that. Now I realize that if you have, you know, kids that are, I don't know, under 10 or under 7 or whatever, that they may not be able to do that on their own, but maybe they could get all the clothes, you know, out of their drawers and make a pile and figure out, you know, try them on together, and then they could be responsible for putting stuff back in their drawers, or, you know, something like that, that maybe you don't have to be responsible for doing that yourself. And the other thing, thinking about schedules, is who's going to be responsible for, you know, maybe meal planning for the next couple of weeks. Maybe you could have the kids, you know, write down, each of them have an idea of something that they would like to have for the meals, and have them involved so that they give you ideas of what meals to have and those kinds of things, so you don't have to make the decision for everything. And, you know, give some of that responsibility to other people in your family. Now, obviously, you know, if it's just you and your spouse or you by yourself, then you're responsible for those things. But there are still things that you can think about with your schedule. You know, when do you want to do self-care? So you want to exercise, or you want to plan your meals, for the next couple of weeks, and being responsible for that for yourself. When can you fit that into your schedule? So some of that I was thinking about. You want to think about what your core values are. What is really important to you that you do every day or do every week that takes care of you and your family. So you want to think about those things too. And what is it that's really at the top of the list that you want to make sure that you do, by the end of the summer? So do you want to, go on a vacation, or maybe you have something in your house that you want to update or change or paint, or, those kinds of things? What is it that's the most important to you to finish for this summer? So we still have, just a few more weeks probably before most kids are going back to school. So is there something specific maybe that you want to finish before they go back to school? And maybe it's something for yourself that you want to have a plan for when the kids are back in school. Maybe you want some sort of exercise program to start when they go back to school. So planning for that now. Where is it going to be? What days is it going to be? Put that on your schedule now so that you're able to schedule other things around that, so you have an idea, especially if you want to go do something specific that you have to sign up for. Now, obviously, if it's something that you could do anytime, you still need to think about having that on your schedule so that you don't schedule something else around that. So still having a schedule that you're going to do, and having that on your calendar so that you understand when you want to do that. So, you want to plan ahead a little bit. Maybe look at August or September and think about, what is it that I want to do for myself for those 2 months that I should put on my schedule so it doesn't get filled up with things that your family needs to do or wants to do. Or, are you going to sign your kids up for some class that they can only take at a certain time? Maybe they're going to do a swimming class, or, I don't know, horse riding class or something like that. So you want to look at what the schedule is for that and put that on your schedule so that you have those times on your calendar already coming up. Because it's so hard when you're at the last minute trying to figure out what everybody's doing and who needs to be where, and around your work schedule and cooking and cleaning and all of that. So if you kind of plan those things out, have them specifically on your calendar, then you'll know what's coming up and kind of plan for that a little bit ahead of time, and so that you can be a little more organized and having time to do things that are important to you. So is it important that your kids go to their swimming classes every week? And when is it? And, put it on the schedule so that you understand what that means in your schedule. So then you don't add something else on to that time. I know for me, I am constantly putting stuff on my calendar, even little things like I'm spend so much time working on things like this. What am I going to talk about? And what time am I going to do that? And looking up, other information so that I can share new kind of things with you all. So I have that on my calendar, that I'm doing that at a specific time. I do a Bible study every week, so I have that on my calendar so I don't forget about that. And so it's the same thing as when you have something that's important to you that you don't want to miss, or you don't want to schedule something else over it, then you kind of get it on your schedule. And that includes things that you want to do for yourself. Do you want to take a walk every evening at a certain time? Or do you want to spend a certain amount of time listening to some music to unwind? Or maybe you want to do some yoga and unwind in the evenings at a certain time, maybe after the kids are in bed, put that on your calendar so that that becomes kind of an appointment for you. So this is something that is important to me, important enough that I put it on my calendar. So I'm going to make sure that I do these things, and having a schedule and having, everything kind of out scheduled and on your calendar, I think helps you to be able to know what's coming up, and also to have less stress about trying to juggle so many balls and keeping so many things together. I know one of my mentors talks about juggling balls. Made me think, as I said that, think of this, where you have different kinds of balls. So some of the things are plastic that they won't break if you drop them, but some of them are glass and are really important. So if you drop those balls, they would break. So you want to think about the things that you are juggling and what is it that's really important to you, that if you drop that ball, it would break, in essence, like a glass ball. So, and not everything that we have on our schedule or in our lives is one of those things that's a glass ball. Some of the things that we are really maybe want to do, but is not a high priority thing, are things that maybe we could just take off the list and just decide we're just not doing that at this time in our lives. It's not as important to me to be able to do that or have that thing on my list. So why don't I just take it off and stop trying to kind of torturing myself that, oh, I still didn't get that done, or I still can't do that, I didn't have time this week, and I'll put it on my schedule next week. Well, maybe it's just something you can just stop doing and not do it at all, and be okay with that. Sometimes I think part of it is we don't give ourselves permission to just not do everything. You're allowed to say, no, I don't have time for that, or no, it's not important to me, or no, I just don't want to do that. So, think about some things that maybe is on your schedule that meet those criteria, that it's something that you just don't want to do, or it's not important enough to, that you didn't do it today and I'll just do it tomorrow, but maybe it's not important enough to do it all. And maybe you can just take it off your list and just not do it at all. So think about things maybe that are in that realm, that it's things that you just don't want to do or don't need to do, and just take those off of your list. So let's kind of think about other ways that you can kind of make more time on your schedule. Maybe you like to sit down and watch a show in the evenings on TV, but it's not something that's really high priority to you, and there's something else maybe that you could do in that spot. Say, I don't know, maybe you want to read a book or learn a new hobby or something like that, so you could put that into that time slot. So it's a kind of a thing of really evaluating every minute of your day and what is it that's in that time frame. Is it something that's important enough to you to just keep doing it at that time, or can you put something else in that spot that's more important for you to do? So say, maybe right after work you would like to have time to just go to a coffee shop and just sit for a few minutes. Well, what is it that you could take off of your plate so you can do that? Do you have to get home to take care of your kids? Well, maybe you could schedule that your husband does that, or your spouse, or hire a teenager or somebody that does that, 1 day a week. And it doesn't have to be every single day that you have that time, but you take the time, once or twice a week to be able to go and sit in that coffee shop and just unwind and spend some time on your own. It's really important. I feel like it's really important that us as moms take some time to think about what it is that you want for yourself, because we're so focused on what we can do for other people, and, you know, kind of being the one that everybody looks to be responsible, and maybe helping the kids and spouse and whoever else that you're doing that with to understand that you just need some time to not be the one to be responsible for everything. So finding the time to be able to do that, you know, just slowly take off some of the responsibility that you have. So one day a week, take 15 minutes for yourself to go to the coffee shop or go to the library, if that, you know, if you really want to be somewhere quiet and just sit and read a book and not have anybody bother you for 15 or 20 minutes. I think all of us can fit that kind of thing into our schedule. It just may take some planning. So being able to talk to your kids, or finding, you know, someone that can watch the kids for a few minutes one day a week, maybe get them involved in something that they can do on their own, and drop them off and then go, you know, do what you want to do. So it may take some planning to be able to do that, but I think that's as important as, you know, doing all of the things that you do for your family and staying with that. And, you know, we all kind of, for those of us that work outside the home, it's more having to juggle one more thing. Or maybe you do something at home, you know, that you're work your own business in your home, and you have to figure out time to be able to do that. So just figuring out all of that schedule, sometimes it just takes planning. I say that, you know, easily, like you can just do that. And I understand how difficult it is, because things come up and you just don't have control sometimes over things. But taking care of yourself and taking the time to be able to unwind and have kind of the fortitude and refilling the energy and time for yourself is important too. Because if you don't fill up your own soul and help yourself to unwind, you just can get, you know, overly anxious and just have more and more issues over time if you aren't able to slow down and do things to help yourself. I know it took me a lot of years to figure that out, and I finally am to the point that I really am dedicated to taking care of myself and figuring out what that looks like, and figuring out what my health goals are and what my professional goals are, and all of those things, so that I can get to a place where I feel good and have the energy to do things that I want to do. So hopefully that gives you some ideas of things you can do for the next couple of weeks. And so I'll be back next week. And let me know if there's anything that you have questions about or ideas of things that you want to do. And I also have open spots for my program. So if anybody's interested in having coaching around, you know, your life and having time and energy to do things that you want to do, I have spots available. So just message me, or just I can put the link below to sign up for a call to talk about what your goals are, if anyone wants help with that. Okay, see you next week.